Hello everyone and welcome to today's build. We are building a base game only modern 3-bedroom starter house. Like, this is a starter house. Oh, look at it. I think I did really well with this one. I think it's ended up being pretty well, and under 20 or around about 20,000 simoleons I think it ended up as that. So I obviously use a bit of debug in this one. So let's see how I did it. So I did have a bit of an inspiration for this one, and I did want to try out one of my new-ish base game tricks on this one, as to putting some window seating in on the outside. So it's something I sort of worked out how to do, and I was happy with how it came out. It was an expensive idea for a starter house, but I think worth it because it just makes it that much cooler. And as you can see there, I'm just putting in some platform stairs. And it's not working. I just realized it was the wrong height. And so that's a little bit of a cheaper way to do it, go about it. I ignore the amount of simoleons my sim has. That's my tester sim. I give them a lot of money so I can zoom them around the world and buy whatever I like. So they have just under 10 million. No biggie. So this is a base game only build, which I like to do every now and then. I like the challenge of it, and I actually really like building with just base game. Just something a little bit different, and I like to have to think a little bit outside of the box just to come up with something different. And I think that I did in this one. I think it ended up looking really pretty. So with this window seat concept, I was just working on which seat I was going to do, but I use a bar stool on a half wall. So as you can see here, you need to have VB move objects on, and so it's just a matter of lining up the bar stool around the edge of the half wall so that it can be used as seating, and then around the back, when we get to that, I'll show you what you do just to fill in the space and make it look like it's really nice outdoor seating, because that's not something that we have in base game really. I mean, you have the home decorators modular couches, which you kind of can do that with, but yeah, we don't really have any sort of seating like this in the game, so I just made something up. And so what I use is the immaculate shelving, and I just use that as the backer onto the seats. And as you can see, I put a table in the corner there just for something that you could decorate and put something on, and I use a couple of shelving on each side just so that it can fill out that space there completely. And I'll just even that out, but that's the basics of how to create that window seating. So you need the VB move objects on sheet basically, and that's it. And then you can place those however you like and just make something cool. So you need to lift the seats up by 1, I think, using the Control 9 method, just to lift those up so they're at the right level. And I did test them out and they do work perfectly well. So you can have your Sims sitting on their little window seats, having a nice read on a sunny day, whatever you like really. So I did the window seats around the front because the house that I used for the inspiration kind of had that window seating around the front and that sort of thing. So I kind of wanted to replicate that, but it took me a little bit of working out how to actually do that. But I got there in the end, and finally, nailed how to do these little window seats, which are quite cool. Something that's a little bit different, and I'm just going to fill out this back space with the immaculate shelving there, so it all looks like it's one big black seating, and around the side there as well, and then round on that side too. So just fixing up the seat so it doesn't poke through, because that's important. I did actually go quite monochromatic with the colours in this house. It's certainly on the outside it's monochromatic. I think I have a bit more colour on the outside, but yeah, it is pretty much black and white, I think, on the outside for this one. The inside will change, be a little bit different, but I think that was quite effective, and it gave it a super modern look, and that I really liked. So that's what I did. I ended up actually using something a little bit different on the columns. Yeah, the tiling, the digital world tiling, and I actually really loved how that looked. I know it's not so traditional, but that's okay. I think that did work out really nicely. I'm just sort of fixing up the shape of the of the house at this stage, just so that it shapes around really nicely around the window seats and has a good, well, a good shape to it. It's really all I'm trying to say there. And I'm just working on a carport area here. So like some of these things aren't the cheapest of things, so I was really happy to be able to fit them into a starter build, because I think it's nice to have something pretty to start with if you can. And it's me just working out the logistics of that. And once again, I had this is part of the inspiration, is the inspiration build that I was going off had like the carport to the side, and it had it like in little separate layers, which I thought was quite neat. And I was able to do that with platforms, so that wasn't too expensive. But obviously having the little bits of wall on the other side was a little bit pricier than I wanted to do. But them's the breaks. I made it work. That's fine. And then once again doing platform steps around the side, off the back porch there. And it is a starter build, so keep that in mind, and base game. So I couldn't go too expensive on some of the interior stuff, but it is a starter build, so that's going to happen, and it's something that you can actually improve on as you continue to play the game, and your sim can buy new things. So I went with the basic plain white foundation on this. I didn't want like a foundation that stuck up at the top, that had the lip going over the side. I didn't think that sort of suited the modern aesthetic. It's just me checking how much I've spent. I have to keep an eye on that, because obviously I've got sims on there for testing, and I've got to make sure that I don't use too much money up. Now I am just currently working on a floor plan and how that's all going to work. So I think I'm going to have a bedroom at the back, and I'm just working out how to do maybe I don't have a bedroom at the back. Oh yeah, no I do, because it's 3-bedroom, isn't it? So 3 bedrooms and I want to say 2 bathrooms actually. So I mean, that's pretty good. Not too shabby for a starter house, really, a fancy looking starter house like this. So just working out what I wanted to do for the doors and getting the right look for those, or as best as I can anyway, with my choices. So it's I say 2 bathrooms, but it's like, you know, 1.5. But that's not too bad. And I even got the toilet paper in there, so that's nice. And then so we're going to do the kitchen around the front of the house, and then it will go into dining. So you can sort of see the entrance to the house there, on the other side of the kitchen. So there's going to be like a little, what's the called, like a kind of like a mudroom with your coat hanger and stuff when you come in the door, and then through to the kitchen, dining, and into a little living area as well. And as per usual, I've forgotten to put lights up, so sorry about that. It's a little dark. I will have to get rid of some of the stuff, because you know it is a starter build, and I am going to run out of money. So I'll do the best that I can. Yeah, I sort of went a little bit too expensive to start off with, so I'm like, I'm going to have to choose some cheaper things here, because I'm going to run out of money pretty quickly. And so yeah, but that's the basics of the living room, the kitchen, and the dining area. Basic beds, unfortunately. I would much prefer to put an expensive bed in if I can, but it's just not ever going to be possible in a starter home. Them's the breaks, and I realised that I could just make that into a kids room, a toddler room in fact, so that's going to be an even cheaper option for bedding, and great for a family with a young child, obviously. I think we're about 12,000 simoleons, sitting at 12,000 maybe. It was a little bit more. I went too quickly for me to actually see how much we're sitting at, but we must be, oh no, it must be more than 12,000, because we must be close to the limit on what we can do there. And hey, I finally got lights in, and then I've got to decide on paint and flooring. I've just gone with basic colours at this stage to reflect the outside, and then oh yeah, so I use the free flooring, so that saves a bit of money. I know it's not so great for the environment, but yeah, blue was the colour that I decided to go with to brighten up the house on the inside. So it's still quite monochromatic on the floors and the walls, but then it uses pops of blues around the house, and as you can see, like a bit of a different coloured furnishings in the end tables in the master bedroom. And so I'm just using different colours and that sort of thing. It just adds a little bit of brightness to the bedrooms, which is nice. Use the black and white spots there. I'm not sure if I keep those, but I've got those up in the meantime. And I think I'm getting quite low on the old casheroonies. But we've still got windows to go in, so going with some cheap options. And I wish in those really cheap windows that they had a really nice just square one, like rather than having like the curve on them and stuff. That would be so great for starter home builds. But anyway, it is what it is. So I decided to do like a contrast with the windows, like have the black on the white and the white on the black. If you're wondering what I did there, I just did a contrast color just to mix it up a little bit. And now I am looking at how I can save some money. So yeah, I'm at 19,000. I still haven't done any of the landscaping and stuff, so I'm going to go to debug for the landscaping and do what I can there, and just try and pretty this place up a little bit and add some life to the place. But I'm still going to have to spend probably a little bit more money on a couple of things just to have, like, you know, an outside table maybe and some outside seating and stuff as well. So, but we will get there. It'll be fine. So I'm just working out what I can put in that little space, because obviously when you're putting stuff in that shrunken little space, it doesn't sit so nicely with the foundation. So that can be a little bit tricky, but I managed to work that out by shrinking down the steps and then making them bigger. And of course I went too far out, so I had to redo that again. I hardly ever use those particular debug plants because they're quite flat looking, but I think they kind of worked in the way that I use them in this particular build, because I puffed them out with using multiple ones. So I'm using some of the free fencing from debug just to give the house a little bit more of a finished look. So I'm just trying to work out how I want this fencing to sit and how that's going to work with the platform and stuff for the little balcony area. But I think that ends up looking quite nice, quite stylish and modern, so that's cool. And then I've got a little bit of garden going in there just to give some life to the place. Nothing too wildflowery or anything like that, because it is a modern build, so it's going to be a little bit more contained, and formal isn't the right word, but I guess more precise and placed and confined within the space that you want it, if that makes sense. So, you know, you can sort of see that there, how flat that particular bush is. It's kind of weird, but I just reversed on the back and did like a second bush around the back, and that sort of gave it a lot more volume and life. So I think that worked. I was quite happy with that. So this is me just working out how I want this fencing to sit, and I wanted to sort of close off the driveway a little bit and just make the property look more contained. I'm just using the little poles just to finish off the little corners and stuff like that, and they didn't sit okay on the platform. So I did look at the idea of using the debug column as something for the garage, so I could save well, not the garage, but the carport, so I could save some money, but it didn't work. So I'm just working on having something that runs along the side of the stairs, so that it's just kind of looks like it's a railing, yeah, I guess a railing, just to finish off the stairs, really, which I think worked okay. But again, it can be a little bit fussy in terms of getting it to sit in the right place with the foundations and the stairs and stuff like that. So got there in the end though, but the columns wouldn't sit there with the stairs. So it's like, oh man, sometimes you just fiddle around with the silliest things in builds, don't you? Then I went wild with this little fencing, which I thought looked really pretty, to finish off the walkways and stuff, because I always want to like finish off walkways with like something around the edge, you know. So stones weren't going to work because they were going to be way too expensive to use as a finishing thing. But then I was like, I saw this little fence debug and I could shrink it down quite low, and I was like, you know what, actually that was quite pretty. So I did a bit of that, and then I decided that I needed to move that fencing because that didn't work for me. It needed to go right to the edge. So mucked around with that again for a little bit, but it gave me a little bit more of a front yard, so that was cool. I was looking at doing fencing along the front porch, but changed my mind. Got the cars going in there. Obviously you need some cars going into your driveway. And 19,782 simoleons. So really quite at the limit. I still would probably like to put something on that back porch just to fill that space. So I decided on doing a garden on there. So just dropping it down a level with a platform and putting some plants in there just to fill that space up, because it's like quite a big blank canvas as such, a blank area. And then there was still a little bit of space on in the back lawn as well, and I was like, well, we can put something else there, some more garden stuff, maybe a little seat would be perfect there, and just to fill up the space and make it look, you know, like it's actually something there, a bit more landscaped and loved and cared for. So just filling up this little garden space here, and I got those way away from the wall. Thank you, top down view. And free planter, so that's always good for debug. Just put a plant in there at some stage. And then I'm just working out how I'm going to fill this space. So I'm doing some more of that fencing. I'm going to use that as a divider. Divider as something that lines the path all the way around the back. It just adds a little bit of a pretty element, I think. I hope. So yeah, so that's just going to go all the way down that side, and then I'll go around and wrap around the other side. I can't remember if I go around the square bit though. I don't think I do. I think I just use it as a path liner as such. Although I don't know if I'll be able to do it on this. So that can sometimes be the tricky part. Oh, there's a shorter version. Yeah, that's right. I forgot there was a shorter version too, so that's handy. And all around there. Blam, 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 blam. Look at that. It's all lined and outlined and oh, pretty. And I can do that around the front as well. Just like that. Although I did think about the fact that it was going to be cutting off the little bit of lawn around the front. So I still wanted to make that little bit of lawn accessible. So that's why I didn't go all the way across there. And instead, just went along and lined the garden. Just so it's all outlined and pretty. There we go. And then going on through to the last part of garden there. Excellent, well done there. And once again, it just carries on with the black and white monochromatic sort of vibe. And then I had the fun of trying to work out what I could fit in here, because obviously sometimes it's just like the foundation thing where some plants, with the way that they're, I don't know, with the way that they sit, they won't sit in a smaller confined space, like they won't go down. So that can be a little bit tricky with doing this sort of little garden. Some of the stuff will just sit up like it's hovering, and I mean, you don't want hovering plants. That's just weird. I mean, unless they're in like a hanging pot, I mean, that's fine. That's no problem. But yeah, hovering plants in like your little planter area in the back porch is probably just a bit weird. So yeah, it took a little bit of fussing around just to work out which one I wanted to do there, or which ones were usable, I should say. Is probably the better way to put it, rather than working out which ones I could do, because so much of it was just all hovering and a bit painful. But anyway, it filled the space and just added a little bit more of a pretty feature to the back area, which I appreciated. So it's me just working out what I want to do there, if I'm going to keep that bush in there, if I'm going to add flowers, what I'm going to do, I don't know. But anyway, it's coming together. Decided what I was going to do, just add more flowers. Voila! And then we've got a seat going in there, so just like a nice relaxed garden seat. I didn't want to put more stairs in there, to be honest. I just couldn't afford them, so that was what it was. And same problem again with the plants going against the foundation where they just won't sit down on the ground. This particular planter is actually really good for sitting down on the ground next to a foundation. So if you're ever looking for a planter that will do that in debug, I recommend this one. It's a good one, and it actually suited the colour palette for my build, so it worked on 2 levels. I'm just going to fill this last bit of garden space around here. So using the, I want to say lavender. I don't know. I don't know enough about plants to say what it is, but it kind of reminds me of lavender because it's got those different shades, but it's not like a lavender. It's more like a whitey bluey kind of lavender. Yeah. Velvet is not a plant expert, and do not ever listen to plant advice from Velvet. I don't know what I'm talking about when it comes to plants. It's not my thing. Okay, well, I think we're getting towards the end of the build. Maybe we've got a little bit more to do on the front. I'm just trying to make some money back so that we can afford maybe a picnic table or something around the front. Yeah, it's getting a little bit dicey with money. I still want to do like a little bit more decorating, but I do use the holiday. I wish like the holiday stuff would come up under Basegame because I mean it's free, so I mean I also guess I know why it's separate, but also yeah, because your list of builders Basegame only, and then it's got the holiday pack coming up as well, and it's like, well, it's not technically Basegame only, but I mean the holiday stuff is kind of Basegamey, isn't it? Like as I said, it's free, so I kind of lump it in as Basegame. So there you go. No. So that's me just fussing around with this plant around the back. I had just finding something that sat right on the planter from all angles. I was just kind of like, oh, why are you being so painful? And then working on some decorations in the house for stuff from debug is, yeah, I did my best. There's a few bits and pieces, but a lot of it isn't ideal for decorating, I guess. But those little clay bunnies and stuff like that, those are fantastic. Those make little great little decorations. And I don't know how usable that book is. I didn't actually test that, but yeah, that's because I deleted it. I don't imagine that book stack is usable though. A little bit of makeup, so there's a tiny little bit of makeup in there. I think I end up having to get rid of, I got rid of those chairs and replaced them with a planter. It's probably more of a outdoor planter than an indoor planter, but I think it's okay on the inside as well. So I just found a lamp, and I was just working out whether or not I could get that to sit properly was the thing, but I think I ended up getting that to sit okay. And it's nice to have a bit of outdoor light, even though I'm not 100% sure if it gives off much light, but I think it might do a little bit of light. I can't remember. Maybe. I don't know, you test it and tell me. Okay, so let's have a look at what we did. Isn't that beautiful? I think the tiles with the plain white actually looks really sharp and lovely. It might not be to everybody's taste, but it's definitely to my taste. I like that look. So you can see we've got the platform roof there, which works really well for a free roof. I was going to say, like, what's with the colour of the windows, but it's just the way the lighting's sitting at the moment. The windows are all the same colour, it's fine. And then around the back we've got like our lovely seating area, and then like a little bit of a garden, a column. So I think that's really quite fresh and lovely. And then we've got our stairs and stuff going down the back, and then another bit of garden down the side through to our carport. So I think that's quite nice, a nice little carport. I quite like the way that it's divided up. It just adds like a architectural interest to what is traditionally not the most interesting of things, a square thing to put your car under. The picnic seat is great on the front porch, great for eating, and as you can see I've got a sim in there living their life, and it's pretty plain and simple on the inside with the white, but I think the pops of blue work, and I mean you can decorate it to your liking if you don't like the plain black and white, and I think the spots worked in the kids' room too. So it's nice and bright. Well, it's not nice and bright, but it's interesting for the toddler, if you know what I mean. So that is our build. I hope you enjoyed it, and thank you for watching with me. I had a lot of fun building it, and this will be up on the gallery, VelvettB, for you to download. Thanks for watching. Bye!